How's it going, chipsters? This skidder just got all new rubber on it. She got all new tires today. Oh, purdy, purdy, purdy. Tires we had on her were wore out. I wish we had some smell-o-vision here because you can smell that new tire smell when you got 35.5s. Yeah. It smells nice. And I did run it today for about an hour. She can work. So, look at, she's even got the new sticker on her. Mercy. So yeah, we got new tires on the 545. We didn't put them on. There's a tire company locally that does it. They put all 4 of them on. What was it? Maybe 3 hours? 4 hours maybe, I think it was around 3 hours. They just did over there on the side of the road because we were so busy. And yeah, been a great video, but we have been hustling, working hard. You need me? Oh, he's over. Do you need me? He's Little Red over there is making a bunch of comments. But he's supposed to be changing knives. Maybe he's done. It's been nice to have help doing the chipper and the knives and him learning. He's going to start throwing stuff. You can't throw. Go ahead, throw it. You can't hit me. Throw it. Throw it. You are such a girl. Didn't even get halfway here. What does he need? What do you need? The new knife is what? Oh, how many knives have you done? Is it the last one?
No, this is the second.
Switch knives.
Yeah.
Still like that?
It's the same.
See where it hits right here? So, usually when I switch knives it helps, but if you already switched them then it's, you gotta loosen this one and take this one down a little bit to let it fit in there right. This one's up a little high with the new knives. They're not, I think I've had this complaint once before. I've talked to Morbark about it. They're not Morbark's knives. So, I contacted Morbark and they changed their provider, so. That was one thing, that was my biggest complaint with those knives is they're not, if you lay them all upside, stand them all up, they're not all the same length. Some of them are just a little bit longer than the other ones, which really screws us on that. Knife problems. But, so it only took them a couple hours. We didn't do it. They put the tires on there. And yeah, she's got some grip now. She had bald tires on it before. The story behind the 545C. How did we come about getting the 545? Now, years ago, before that chipper guy was ever thought of, we had some really prime chipwood that, I mean, it was big timber that was all being chipped. And we were on some jobs where we should have been doing 20 plus loads a day. I mean, easy. And we were getting about 8 to 10. We could not get a whole lot of wood out. And we had one problem. We had 2 bunchers going. We had 2 skidders running. And we didn't have the slasher set up on that job. It was all getting chipped. They wanted it all chipped. Well, the problem is we couldn't get the wood to the chipper. The wood was on the ground everywhere, and we could not get it to the chipper. So that's when Mike said, I got to do something different. We have we have a 660C timberjack that was up there. The motor blew in that. That was getting repaired at the shop when we were on this job. We had the 560 timberjack. The motor blew on the job up there while the motor in the 660C was getting fixed down here. We had the 848 up there pulling wood. And we had the 660D timberjack at the shop getting the axle fixed in it. We had those 4 skidders, and 3 of them, it seemed like, were down all the time. And we were lucky if we had 1 skidder going. The problem was at that time is we had a new skidder operator and just a new guy out here working and didn't know much about equipment. That's when we called Paul. And Paul would come in and skid during the night because we only had 1 skidder, and then we'd skid during the day because we were up by where Paul used to live. And it was at that time where Mike says, I gotta get a skidder, something reliable, because the way it was going was horrible. We should have put out a lot of wood, and we just weren't. So Mike bought this 545C at that time, and it showed up later. And I'm not sure how many hours it had on here. Mike would know. It's at almost 8,000 hours now, but that was the original tires that were out when we got it, and they were bald. So we got this skidder, and we ran the beans out of it for a year or 2. I mean, this was our go-to machine because it seemed like the green ones were always broke down. I was always having to get out of the chipper and work on them because the people that were running them really didn't know much about the mechanic side of things. So it was like when it broke down, I would have to get out of the chipper, and then it was like everything shut down. I had it before where there was a skidder stuck under the conveyor because the alternator wires were unhooked and the batteries were dead and it wouldn't shift gears, so he gets under the conveyor to back up and it won't back up. It'll shut the whole operation down. I look under the hood, find the wire, hook it up, pull it out of the way so it'll charge and shift. And it was just like that all the time. So we got this 545C. This thing is a boss. This thing can pull some serious timber. And I remember one night that this broke down. And we had 2 skidders running. It broke down. We were on a big job. And that's the night that Paul skidded all night long. Went to the shop at like 5 in the morning to get fuel in the service truck, drove it back out to the woods, worked all the next day, and then went home. He was looking exhausted that day. But that's the kind of stuff that we were dealing with all the time. Something was broke down, having to work super late, not getting the loads out. And that's when we decided to get this. And then after we ran this for a while, Mike says, I need another one. So that's when he's got the 535 that Paul's running. And then the other 535 came around, and yeah, now we have the skidders where we're not working on them every day. That is an absolute, you don't know how nice that is. And that's when we got that, when we had that chipper, the chipper was brand new. I mean, we're talking like less than 1,000 hours on it, and the thing just wanted to run, and we could not feed it, and it was horrible. So we went with the Cat. A lot of people I get a lot of questions on, oh, John Deere's way better. Oh, Tiger Cat's way better. Oh, whatever you want to throw in there. Listen, we went with Cat, okay? Cat service in our area is very good, whereas some other services in our area aren't so swell, and other services aren't available in our area, so you can't even, so when people say, oh, you don't have a John Deere or a Tiger Cat, you don't know what you're missing. And well, the Cat service in our area is very well. And I'll just say this, because this is, you want to deal with good people. You know what I mean? Dealing with good people is like the way to go. The people that we deal with Cat are top notch. Salesman was at the viewing for Lacey. Our mechanic was at the funeral, and his wife, our Cat mechanic. Cat was very generous to my family. that's who you're dealing with. When you deal with people like that, and I'm not saying that the other companies wouldn't do that if we were in that situation. All I know is the people that we deal with CAT are exceptional. And our salesman that we deal with is great. The mechanic, I can call anytime, any day. The guy will help me out. It's really nice to deal with really quality people. So, that's why I went with CAT. That's why we got a CAT buncher. That's why we got CAT skidders. That's why it's nice to deal with CAT. And for all you truckers out there with your CAT motors and you're loving it, yeah, we were in love with the CAT motors too. We had them in every truck, only kitty cats, but now we're switched over to Detroit. So, that's the story behind the 545. And yeah, I had the question our day, because I made a quick video in there, of why does it say don't backblade? Because what happens is, I'll answer that really quick while we're talking about the skidder, is right here is a problem area. So when you backblade, it puts pressure right here. And you only have those 4 bolts holding it. So when you're backblading, you're putting a lot of pressure on those 4 bolts, and the bolts strip out, and then your blade falls half off. And you're usually fine if you do it on nice ground, or it's not too bad. But if you get into some rough ground or something frozen, or you hit a stump, it will rip those bolts right out, or break them off inside there. Then you got to get them out, and they're thread locked in there. And you can see how easy they are to get to, because they're not easy to get to. It's just a whole lot of work. So we put the thing up in there. Don't backblade. Anyone out there runs a C-Series skidder, you would know exactly what that means. I had some comments a long time before with somebody that had a C, and they know exactly it. The new cats, the D's, they don't have that. They got a pin there, so you can backblade with those till you're blue in the face. It don't matter. So it started with this, and then it took off to the other skidders, and moves like that just kind of kept taking us to a little better production. And yeah, then we got some newer trucks to get better production out of our trucks, and it's just kind of like trying to keep that production up there is the most important part out here, is to get the wood out of here. You first have to buy the timber, then you gotta have a place to take the timber, then you gotta have a machine to cut the timber down, then you gotta have a machine to get the wood out of the woods, however you want to do that. Then you have to get it from the woods to whatever mill you're taking it to. It's just a big, long line of have to have everything in order to get production out. And it's like we're getting there. You know, Mike's makes the right moves, and we just kind of get a little better. And yeah, it just gets better. So it started with that girl years ago, and then it went from all there to all these other machines. Just how it goes. It's worked out. But Caterpillar has treated us really nice. I got both CAT motors on the chipper. Swear by them. We got them on the old chipper. That thing's got 7,400 hours on the big motor. The only thing I have done to that V12 is put an alternator on it. The alternator that we had on it was actually went bad and started overcharging things. So then it came up on the computer overcharge. And I called my mechanic and said, hey, I got an overcharge on my alternator. And he said, well, it could be Morbark's problem. It could be CAT's problem, because it's Morbark's computers. He said, but I'll come out and look at it. He came out and looked at it, threw his tester on there and said, yeah, that alternator's overcharging. I was like, seriously, 15 hours under warranty, and sent us a new one and put it on there. Quality. But those CAT motors, the only thing I'd like is a C32, and just one big C32 would be sweet. But the C27 does really good. So yeah, the history of CAT skidders on this crew have been impressive. Thanks for watching. Josh is still doing knives.